It's playoff time, baby, and my Chiefs are not in it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Tackle Talk Network. And if it's your first time to the channel, then I welcome you to the Football Man. And let's get into it. First and foremost, I'd like to start this episode off with saying, if you're watching this on Thursday, the 8th of January, it has officially been 1 year of my podcast on the internet. I mean, this has been an amazing 1 year, in my opinion, and I can't wait to share more opinions and everything. And if you go back and look, I did not post my first ever episode on YouTube. I posted it on Spotify because Spotify is a lot easier to upload than on YouTube, or at least it was at the time. Now, I'm going to bring back a little bit of an old segment, and it's playoff power rankings. Now, if you obviously saw by the title, yes, I will be predicting the 2026 NFL playoffs and who your Super Bowl champion will be, because it's 100% accurate, and it always is. Accurate. Sorry, I get a little excited sometimes, and I speak too fast. Let's get off with starting with our playoff power rankings, because they are 100% accurate, and you know it. All right. To start things off, I'm going to start from number 14 all the way up to number 1, and we're going to go through each team as we talk about them, and I'm going to give you some stats and basically an overall year, set off of their year and show you everything, basically. Okay, I'm already lost half my viewers. Okay, so at number 14, I have the Carolina Panthers. Now, a lot of you thought I was going to say Pittsburgh Steelers. No, the Carolina Panthers. They had an 8-9 season. The Carolina Panthers did a lot of decent things this year, like knocking off the Rams earlier on, and we'll get to that in here in a little bit. They had the 12th ranked best defense and the 15th best offense in the NFL. Bryce Young did a fantastic job leading that Panthers offense this season, and I felt like it was a good year 3 for Bryce Young, especially since his sophomore season, he was benched and then came back, and the Panthers have kind of struggled. And coming out of the NFC South, there really just had to be a team from there. Now, can they make a run in this playoff? We'll see. I personally don't have them making any sort of impact, but I would not be surprised of them making a huge impact in this playoff later on. Number 13, the Green Bay mother-loving Packers. I have you at number 13 for a couple of reasons. Okay, so Green Bay, you were ranked as, granted, you had the Micah Parsons injury, and we know all that, right? I actually had the Panthers numbers wrong. The Panthers were 16th best defense and the 27th best offense. That sounds a lot better, right? Bryce Young did have a better year managing that Panthers offense. However, the Packers were the 12th best defense and the 15th best offense. Jordan Love, absolutely fantastic at the quarterback position this year. Now, the reason I have you at 13, Green Bay, I would much rather put you at like 6 or 8. Yeah, I was close. 6 or 8 in this power ranking. I have you at 13 just because Micah Parsons is injured, and at the moment, Jordan Love is still going through concussion protocol. We do not know where he will be at when it comes playoff time, and it's just going to be an interesting thing there for the Green Bay Packers. We don't know where you're going to be at. As far as the season went, you started off really strong. You destroyed the Lions week 1. It was really, really good, especially when you got Micah Parsons. Your defense and your quarterback pass rush actually skyrocketed. Your defensive numbers really came after the second half of the year, after you got Micah Parsons, and when you guys started to really take off defensively. Offensively, you guys were pretty much the same all year. You battled some injuries with like Christian Watson and your tight end, Tucker Kraft. He tore his ACL, which was not a good sign. I think it was his ACL. Jordan Love was in and out of concussion protocol, especially as of lately. And Malik Willis actually did a pretty decent job of taking over the offense there for you in Green Bay. So I really think that the Packers, you're in a decent position. You can make a run in the playoffs as well, but we're just going to have to wait and see. At number 12, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles, a lot of people say, well, they were the Super Bowl champs last year. They should be higher. Well, if you take a look at their stats, they were the 24th best offense in the NFL. Not very good. They were also the 13th best defense. So their defense significantly better than their offense. We can obviously tell who's winning in the practice facility. But the reason I have you ranked so low, Philadelphia, is because your team is just not like it should be. I still feel like throughout the season, you really didn't have an identity on offense. Like I said about the Eagles earlier on and throughout the season, you didn't have an identity on your offense. You eventually started giving more carries to Saquon Barkley, which was a good thing. Don't get me wrong. It was a great thing to give more carries to Saquon Barkley because he ended up producing, ended up being pretty good. Now, Eagles, you could lose in this first round. I will say this right now. It's been across my mind the last few teams. Any of these teams could win in the first round, and any of them can lose. I don't think there's a single team in the first round, other than probably the Panthers, that doesn't have a 50-50 shot at winning this game. Now, the Panthers, I feel like it's more 60-40, more 70-30, just because they're a losing team, 8-9 record. You know the gist. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles, you're a good team. Right, you're a good team. You've been in the playoffs before. I don't doubt that you know how to win games in the playoffs. However, I don't trust Jalen Hurts' numbers. I don't trust your offense. And your defense isn't a top 5 unit like they were last year. Arguably the best defense in the NFL and one of the best Super Bowl defenses we've seen in NFL history, at least in the top 5. In my opinion, they're probably like number 3 or number 4. But that's kind of going on a tangent here. The point is, Eagles, you're 12, and I don't see you going any higher. And if you get past the divisional round into the NFC Championship, I'll eat my words. But until then, keep your ranking at 12. Number 11, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Steelers had an amazing win over the Ravens on Sunday Night Football. Oh my goodness, it was chaotic. I don't even have the words to describe it. Just go look up the last final minutes of that game because it was fantastic. I mean, Aaron Rodgers and it was crazy. I mean, I kind of feel bad for the DB that slipped there for the Ravens to give up the final touchdown, and then the Chiefs, not the Chiefs. Why did I say the Chiefs? The Ravens ended up missing a field goal. That's why I said Chiefs, because we missed a lot of those this year. Actually, Harrison Butker led the league in missed field goals. Regardless, Steelers ended up getting it done, ended up firing John Harbaugh, which was kind of crazy. I say that, obviously, the Ravens were in charge of that, but they basically got him fired. And there's a big coaching carousel going on, but I'll talk about that after the power rankings. Steelers, as for you guys, your offense and your defense, I mean, you guys were pretty decent all around this year. I feel like the Steelers ended up having the 23rd best defense. Not good for the Steelers. And you had a subpar offense as well. The Steelers, when you have DK Metcalf versus when you don't, there's a big difference there. Your offense produces obviously better when you have DK Metcalf. Now, obviously, TJ Watt was injured for a portion of the season, and you can see that based off their defense. Their defense did decline this back half of the season. They started out actually pretty good, then they would lose a couple games, and their offense wouldn't be right, and who knows, right? Steelers, I feel like you have a good shot, especially having that good win over the Ravens. It was practically a play-in, playoff game anyways. You're doing pretty good. I wouldn't change much. Just keep Aaron Rodgers throwing that ball really, really quick. I know he averages like 1.2 seconds throwing the football, and that's like really, really fast. He like grabs it, chucks it, grabs it, and chucks it. That's good, especially when you have to go against like the Broncos or some other team like that in the playoffs that has a really good pass rush, like the Texans, who they're going to play this week. We'll get into that here in a minute. Number 10, the Chargers. I have the Chargers at 10. Simply just because, you're down your 2 tackles, which, by the way, most impressive team, I think, that has made it this far in the playoffs. They ended up being the 7th seed, yes, but with being the 7th seed, you had the 12th best offense and the 5th best defense. Now, defensively, you did have some good pass rush. You had some good pass coverage defense as well. The Chargers are a good all-round team, and they're probably the best 7th seed. Not probably, are the best 7th seed. I have them better than the Packers. The Chargers defense will win them games, especially if they play the Broncos, which I have at number 9. Now, the Denver Broncos, Congratulations for getting the 1 seed. You were the most fraudulent 1 seed of all time. The reason for that, you have the second best defense in the NFL. That is fantastic. Second best defense, I have no shame in saying that. They were number 1 in sacks this year with 68 sacks. That's pretty impressive. Now, your offense is 10th in the league. You take out the fourth quarter, they're almost dead last in this category. I mean, offense, right? So, you've had a lot of fourth quarter comebacks. You've had a lot of good fourth quarter games because the Broncos are so efficient at coming back in these games and winning games. Now, you've won a lot of one-score games. In the playoffs, I see that as a problem. If you end up having to play the Chargers, the Texans, I'll even say the Jags, the Patriots. Heck, if you somehow make it to the Super Bowl and play like the Seahawks, you're screwed. You are screwed. There is a very, very little chance, in my opinion, that the Denver Broncos make it past the divisional round just because it depends on who they play in that round because their offense has not been good. One of these teams with a decent enough offense and a really good defense just has to put up points in the first 3 quarters on the Denver Broncos, and they're not going to be able to win because they're not going to be able to score. With that being said, the Broncos, you have them in a really good team. Bo Nix, Sean Payton, I love what you've done with the offense in the fourth quarter. That being said, I have you at number 9. All right, number 8, I have the Chicago Bears. Now, the Chicago Bears, whilst being the 2 seed in the NFC, they have the 29th defense, and that's of yards, okay? This is all these rankings are based off of yards. So offensive yards average per game and defensive yards average per game. Defensive yards meaning how many yards that team has allowed on defense. So like the Houston Texans had the number 1 defense in the NFL this season because they allowed the fewest amount of yards and points, I believe is what it was. No, not points, just yards. The Seahawks allowed the least amount of points. The Texans allowed the least amount of yards. So that's why they were the number 1 defense, right? Now, something I do want to point out about the Bears. They might have, quote-unquote, the 29th best or the 29th place defense in the NFC. But they lead the NFL with 23 interceptions and 10 forced fumbles. Fumble recoveries, I guess. Forced fumbles is a whole different category. Fumble recoveries is where you recover the fumble, and actually they're 4th in that category. And they're also 3rd in rushing offense. And their offensive stats, which is a lot better, they were the 6th best offense in the NFL, right there behind Ben Johnson. I have confidence in Ben Johnson, and I have confidence in the Bears' offense. The problem is going to be that defense. Now, whilst them having the most interceptions and the 4th most fumble recoveries in the NFL this season, they gave up a lot of yards. They gave up over 7,000, or like 6,000 offensive yards this past season. And you're like, okay, that's a lot. But, I mean, if you look at the Texans, they gave up 4,780. So there's a big gap there. There's a big gap in quality of defensive play, no doubt. But the Bears are good at creating turnovers, which is something that might help them in this playoff push. I mean, even in that game where the 49ers scored 42 points on them in the regular season and ended up winning that game, the Bears, however, had that pick 6 to start the game. I mean, they're just good at getting interceptions and recovering fumbles and forcing fumbles for that matter. And they're really dang good at running the football. And Caleb Williams is really dang good out of the pocket. Arguably the second best quarterback in the NFL outside the hashes. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. At number 7, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Jacksonville Jaguars had a lot better stats than the Bears. The Jags had the 11th best, both defense and offense. So they were the 11th best in offense and defense this season. The Jags started out the season kind of slow. Then they beat our Chiefs, and then they skyrocketed. They started winning more games. Trevor Lawrence finally looked like the number 1 overall pick quarterback from 2020, or 2021 rather, that he was drafted at. It looked like he's actually a good, competent quarterback now. There's been a lot of people that have been like, oh, it's the Jags offensive coordinator, it's their head coach, it's the front office. Well, now that that's all been replaced, I guess they were right because Trevor Lawrence had himself a fantastic season this year. Jacksonville, I have you at number 7. Not only did you have the 11th best defense, but you also had 22 interceptions this season. You guys were efficient when picking off the ball, forcing turnovers, and yet not giving up too many yards. You were 11th best. You were 11th best offense. You had almost an even rush and pass attack. If I had a dark horse so far in this playoff push, it would be the Jacksonville Jaguars. I truly think that if Jacksonville can play their game and play to their standard of football, they can win the Super Bowl. And that's kind of crazy because they haven't been that close since like 2019 when they almost beat the Patriots. I think it was 2018 when they almost beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. It was somewhere over there. They had a good team with Blake Bortles, I believe, is who their quarterback was. But with that being said, Jacksonville, you have an actual chance this season to do something magical, historical, and fantastic for your Florida fan base. And that's why I have you at number 7. At number 6, I have the San Francisco 49ers. Now, San Francisco, congratulations. You are a good team, even though you struggled with injury most of this season. I mean, you had Brock Purdy out for a lot of games. Mac Jones came in and played phenomenal football. Then you had your defensive star, arguably the best middle linebacker in the NFL, and Fred Warner, go down with an injury. That is heartbreaking, especially when he was such a good middle linebacker and really good, really critical for your run defense. However, you're locked in at the 6th seed. You have the 7th best offense and the 20th best defense. Now, you guys weren't near as good as creating turnovers on defense, and we saw that when you guys played the Bears. Now, on offense, you're the 5th best passing offense. And you guys were really good at passing the football. That's a really good stat. That's really good for the 49ers, especially because Brock Purdy was hurt a lot this year. George Kittle was hurt. You didn't have Brandon Ayuk. Christian McCaffrey practically took this team, put them on your back, and said, I'm going to take you to the 6th seed. And it worked. Now, the 49ers, you've got to have a good route to the playoffs to be able to make a good playoff push, and your defense has to be able to get stops. It cannot be a Chicago Bears, San Francisco 49ers battle of the who's going to have the most offensive points. Because if you don't score and your defense doesn't have it together and you're playing a really good defense like, let's say, Seattle, you're screwed. All right. Top 5 time. Here we go. At number 5, I have the Houston Texans. Now, this is crazy because they started out the season like 0-3, and then they were like 2-5. And then they went on this massive win streak to end the season. I mean, they beat us, which was a close game. The Chiefs didn't beat any playoff team all season. But they played really close playoff teams, played really close to all these playoff teams. So the Houston Texans, really good squad. Number 1 best defense in the NFL when it comes to yards and average. 18th best offense. CJ Stroud finally came alive in the second half of the season. Your offense looked abysmal in that first 6 weeks. After that, though, your offense has been good enough. It hasn't been near as good as like the 49ers or the Chicago Bears. Even the Seahawks, or not even the Broncos. I'm going to say the Broncos have a better offense just because in the fourth quarter they're clutch, right? But the Texans, 18th best offense, not that great. But you started the season like 32nd. Or 31st in offensive yards. Your offense was terrible. CJ Stroud finally got it back together. Now, it was because he got injured. Davis Mills came in and just put on 2 or 3 masterclass games for the Houston Texans. Now, the Houston Texans, I have you at number 5 because of your defense. Your defense is so good. You watch this unit play. They play together. They're brothers. They know where the play is going. They study film. They're just a good group of dudes, and they're going to be able to make a good run in this playoff. Or so we hope. At number 4, I have the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Buffalo Bills obviously have had their own struggles this season. With that being said, they had the number 1 best rushing offense in the NFL. Think about that. They had the number 1 best rushing offense in the NFL. Now, that might not be surprising for people like me who watch the NFL in and out and watch every single game as they possibly can and break down the stats and everything. But for you outsiders, The rushing attack from the Bills came from Josh Allen and James Cook. James Cook had a fantastic season, arguably his breakout season that everybody was predicting him to have. He had a great season. Now, the Buffalo Bills, with that number one rushing offense, you also had the fourth best offense, and you had the seventh best defense. Now, your defense is key here because your defense has been pretty good. Now, they did slip up around the second half of the season, just a little bit. They did give up a lot of yards, but they also forced a decent amount of turnovers as well. Buffalo, for you to win a Super Bowl, you have to go on the road because you're the 6th seed in the AFC. And yes, I do have a 6th seed in the AFC at number 4. You have to go on the road and you have to be able to play well in other stadiums, and Josh Allen has to be mobile. The only way you can win is if Josh Allen is at least 90% on that ankle. He is hurt right now, for those of you that don't know, and they don't know if he's actually going to be 100% able to scramble this wild card weekend when they go on. I think, who are they playing? I think they're playing the Jags. It's going to be a tough game. I don't know I'm still figuring out who's going to win what. But the Bills, you have to have Josh Allen to make this work, because otherwise your offense kind of falls apart, because with him, even if he's back in there and he's just a pocket passer, the threat of him running is what makes your offense, because the Bills were not used to running the football as much with Josh Allen under center the last several years. And now they come in with the number one rushing attack in the NFL. You have James Cook. Teams are stacking the box. You can run read option when Josh Allen is healthy. You can throw over the top and outside the lace, not the laces, but, this, whatever that's called, the freaking, Anyways, you can throw out of the pocket with Josh Allen when he's healthy. It's a fantastic thing, but you have to have him healthy to be able to make a good playoff run. At number 3, I have the New England Patriots. 2 reasons. Number 1, this is their first playoff appearance in a bit. Okay. Number 2, Drake May, fantastic season. He's had a lot of success when throwing the football. Let me just give you some stats on the Patriots. 3rd best offense, 8th best defense. Their defense is what is key here, because their defense has been able to keep the margin wide in some of these games. They play teams like the Jets and they beat them by 35. But you also see when they play teams that were actually not that bad. I mean, they lost to the Raiders week 1, but that was week 1. We don't care about week 1. They didn't play the toughest schedule. That's the only thing that's keeping me from putting them at number 1, because they obviously have one of the best records in the NFL. I have them at number 3 because I feel like these other 2 teams ahead of them are just more proven. They're more battle-tested. I get that the Patriots have a Drake May quarterback who is an NFL MVP candidate right now and might as well win it, because he's been so good. He's got like 46 passing touchdowns or something. Or I think that's Matthew Stafford has 46. Regardless, Patriots, for you to win, you have to be able to pass the ball. I mean, you have the 4th best passing offense in the NFL. You have to be able to pass the ball. You have to be able to spread it out. Drake May has to be able to be mobile, just like the Bills. The Bills and the Patriots play a lot of the same, other than the Patriots need to quit splitting reps between Trevon Henderson and their other back. Just keep the other guy in there and just run the ball. Run the rock. Okay, enough about the Patriots. Going on to the number 2 team in my power rankings for the playoffs, I have the Los Angeles Rams. The reason I have the Los Angeles Rams is because it was not a good game against the Falcons. That was the last game I watched of the Rams. Now, granted, everybody's saying, they played a really good game against the Cardinals last week. Are you hearing yourself? The Arizona Cardinals, the 3-win or 4-win Cardinals. Yeah, they're going to have a good game. If they're actually a really good team, they're going to have a good game against the Cardinals. Come on now. Now, the Falcons, they were not a bad team this year. They had 8 wins. But the Rams, they dropped the game to the Falcons. They dropped the game to the Panthers. Now, both those teams are decent teams. But what are they? They're NFC South teams. You got to look yourself in the mirror and go, okay, we can't afford to have those same mistakes that we had against those teams, and we can go win a Super Bowl right now. Puka Nacua, best wide receiver in the NFL by a stretch, in my opinion. People are saying JSN this, JSN that. No, JSN JSN is not the best in the NFL just yet. He's really dang good. But Puka Nacua has been putting up JSN stats for the last 2 or 3 seasons. I don't remember how long he's been in the NFL, but it was like 2 seasons. And JSN puts it up in 1 season and all of a sudden he gets all the flowers? No, I'm not saying that. JSN can sit the bench. Puka Nacua is the number 1 receiver in the NFL. With that being said, the Rams had the number 1 passing offense in the NFL. The Rams also secured the 5th seed in the NFC because the Seahawks got the number 1 seed. We'll get to them in just a second. The Rams had the number 1 offense in the NFL. When you run the ball with Kyren Williams or Blake Corum, and then you throw the ball to Devontae Adams when he's healthy, and Puka Nacua, it's a fantastic offense. Matthew Stafford should be the NFL MVP this year, even though Drake May's great, but Matthew Stafford's been doing this for a long time, and he's a great quarterback. Now, with that being said, I hope that the Rams make a good playoff run. The only thing that concerns me about the Rams is they have the 17th defense in the NFL. That defense has kind of fallen off a little bit. When they won the Super Bowl the first time, it was because Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey were great in that defense for the Rams. And the Bengals struggled against that defense. Now you have a Rams offense that is the best in the NFL, and you have a Rams defense that is subpar. You can't go on without a defense. Now, the Rams defense has made plays this season. I'm not saying that. Go ahead and give them their flowers. But the Rams have to be able to make stops and keep these teams like the Packers or the Panthers or even the Eagles from scoring. I mean, the 49ers and Bears might walk all over you because your defense isn't that great. But your offense is really good, so who knows? It might be another shutout game, which is kind of crazy. But with that being said, we're on to the number 1 team in the NFL right now, in my opinion. The playoff power rankings, number 1 is the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Seahawks, the 8th best offense in the NFL and the 6th best defense. Now, you probably had the most takeaways. I believe so. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. Now, the Seattle Seahawks were really, really good this season because they came out of nowhere. I mean, they just slowly we won this game, we won this game, we won this game, we won this game. All these teams are talking about the Chiefs losing. They're talking about the Broncos being fantastic. They're talking about Drake May being fantastic. The Rams, the Jags are coming back. The Texans are making this huge run. And then it was just the Eagles are like dying, and then it's just all of a sudden the Seahawks are just kind of like slowly drifting up to the number 1 spot, in my opinion, because they seal the number 1 seed in the NFC. They're clearly the best team in the NFL, in my opinion, because the Rams don't have a defense. The Seahawks have a defense. Sam Darnold might be wearing a Super Bowl ring after this season. We don't know quite yet. You will know here in just a minute because I'm going to be predicting these teams. So don't go anywhere, and if you do click off, well then whatever. You weren't supposed to watch my video anyways. With that being said, the Seattle Seahawks, fantastic season this year with Sam Darnold, Kenneth Walker. I don't even know who their other running back is because he shouldn't be getting carries. JSN, fantastic receiver. 2nd best receiver in the NFL. He's had a fantastic season. I mean, the Seahawks offense has been really good. Your emerging tight end, I forgot his name because he just literally came out of nowhere. I mean, he was really, really good. Nobody expected the Seahawks to have a top 5 tight end in receiving yards in the NFL this season, but they did. Sam Darnold, fantastic. I could go on and on about the Seahawks team, but their defense is really what's key here. Their defense has kept them in games. Their defense makes good plays, gets turnovers on the ball, and all the time, hits really hard. This defense is really dang good. All right, with that all being said, I'm going to talk about NFL news, and then I'm going to be predicting the NFL playoffs. And I will be doing playoff power rankings every single week. I won't be doing the the recaps. I will be doing recaps of the games, of the playoff games, but I'm not going to recap Week 18 because it really doesn't matter. All right, big news. There's 7 available coaching spots right now, head coaching jobs. John Harbaugh was fired from the Ravens. That's going to be a pretty big one. I think he's scheduled to interview with every single one of the other teams. Cliff Kingsbury walked away. He's scheduled to interview with the Giants and another team, I believe. He walked away. He was the offensive coordinator, I think, from the Commanders. Commanders didn't have a good season this year. He walked. Any other teams? No teams in the playoffs right now have made any coaching moves because they can't because they're still playing. But the Chiefs haven't made any coaching moves that I know of. I did see in other news, the Chiefs had some accusations go out about a player on social media. If you want to know what that's about, just go on Twitter or go on Facebook and research Chiefs and go digging a little bit, and you'll find out what they're talking about. If not already, there's a article about it right now. At the moment, as it's recording, there is not, but just keep your eyes out for Chiefs receiver. Anyways, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and predict these playoff games. There wasn't a ton of news that's brand new or just breaking right now as I'm recording this. So, anyways, oh man, predicting the playoffs is always such a task, It's always just different. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But we're going to go ahead and predict the playoffs here. All right, so your games. You have the Chargers, Patriots, Bills, Jags, and Texans, Pittsburgh Steelers. Then next, you'll have the Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bears, 49ers at Philly, playing the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Rams at Carolina. And I'm going to go AFC, then NFC, then AFC, then NFC, then AFC, then NFC. All right, so starters, we're going to go Chargers, Patriots. The Chargers, really good team. Patriots, really good team. I'm going to go ahead and pick the New England Patriots just because I believe in Drake May, and I think they're going to get this W at home, even though that Chargers defense is pretty flipping good, and I could see this game going either way. Like I said, any of these games are almost a 50-50 shot, in my opinion. Green Bay Bears. This game's also going to be really close. Even if Malik Willis plays, I think the Packers actually have a fair shot at beating the Bears. With that being said, the Bears defense isn't that good. I am going to pick the Bears, though, just because I think their offense will outscore the Packers. And who knows? The Packers have as good a chance to win this game. It's literally a 50-50 shot. Bills will travel on the road to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. This one's also kind of tricky just because the Jags are such a good team, and they're also my dark horse team. My heart says the Bills. My mind says the Jags. I'm going to go with my heart. My gut tells me Jacksonville will lose to playoff Josh Allen, and it's going to be a good game. 49ers versus the Eagles. This is going to be crazy because I don't know what's going to happen here either. I mean, Philly's defense isn't good, but it's better than Chicago's defense. I'll say that. I am going to say the 49ers just because I think that even though they're going to go on the road and play at Philly, I think Christian McCaffrey will torch that Eagles defense. Who knows? He might be held to like 53 rushing yards. Who knows? Texans, Steelers. I'm actually going to do them last because they're on Monday night. All right, Rams, Panthers. The Rams are really good. However, when they played the Panthers earlier this season, they lost. They lost to the Panthers at Carolina. I think they beat the Panthers. But if the Panthers do win this game, I think that makes it to where it's like more of a 60-30, 60-40 chance for the Panthers just because they've already proven that they have beat the Rams. And if the Rams go into Carolina and lay a goose egg, then I was right. All right, but I have the Rams winning. Okay, Texans, Steelers. This game is so tough because I love Aaron Rodgers. I love the way he plays. The Steelers, they're going to have DK back, I believe. The Texans, they're hot. They have the number one defense. That's why I got to go with the Texans. The Texans are such a good team. They're so good. And the Steelers, I'll say this, the Steelers, how you win this playoff game, if Aaron Rodgers gets the ball out of his hands quick and that Steelers offense puts up some points, you will win this game. The Texans, Oh boy. How you win this game? You force turnovers, you sack and hit the crap out of Aaron Rodgers with that pass rush, that amazing pass rush you got going. You will be just fine. You will win this game. It'll be an ugly game. If the Texans win this game, they'll score 30. If the Pittsburgh Steelers win this game, it'll be like 16-13. It's so weird. When Pittsburgh gets in playoff football, their defense automatically just gets better. I don't know what it is. All right. Divisional round. So now this is all speculative. All these matchups from here on out aren't actual matchups at the moment, and we will be redoing this later. Like predictions, I'll have predictions of who's gonna win, but I won't be redoing like a whole nother bracket or anything. But I will show you my Super Bowl winner in this video. Bills at the Denver Broncos. Give me the Bills. I mean, the Bills are a much better team than the Broncos, and if the Broncos somehow complete a fourth quarter comeback, then so be it. 49ers, Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks beat the 49ers just because they're going to hold that offense to a minimal. They played not that long ago, and they beat the 49ers pretty handily. So if this happens in real life, even if they play the Eagles, let's say they play the Eagles, yeah, it's GG's for the Seahawks. They're going to win. Patriots, Texans. Ooh, this will be a good matchup. I don't know if they played this year, but I do know that Patriots offense is going to look really dang good against that Texans defense, even though that Texans defense is really dang good as well. And then you got a subpar Texans offense against a really good Patriots defense, and that's why you're going to give me the Patriots, giving you a Patriots-Bills matchup in the conference championship. Now, over here in the NFC, you got the Rams versus the Bears. This is going to be a really good game as well. I really don't know where to go here. I'm going to pick the Rams just because they have a better defense than the Bears, and I think they can hold the ball out a little bit longer with that number one offense they got going on against Ben Johnson's Bears, but it was a valiant effort for the Chicago Bears. Okay, and now we're on to the Holy Grail, the conference championships. We got Buffalo traveling to New England and LA traveling to Seattle for these matchups in this all speculative playoff bracket. Whatever. Anyways, I'm going to go NFC first. I think in this matchup, it's going to be close. This is number one and number two in the power rankings right now, this week in my power rankings. I'm going to take the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks will get it done against these Rams. I won't be surprised if the Rams beat the Seahawks. This is going to be a tough game, close game. I think Sam Darnold will get to the Super Bowl. With that being said, Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills, playing the Drake, May, New England Patriots. This one's also close. I'm going to go with Buffalo. Buffalo making a historic run to the Super Bowl. I mean, they're just that good. I don't know how else to say it. I think my gut's telling me and my heart's telling me that Buffalo could make a run this year. I mean, the Patriots would be the hardest team they play other than Jacksonville. So then you put up a Super Bowl lineup between the 6 seed Buffalo Bills and the 1 seed Seattle Seahawks. In this Super Bowl, it's going to be insane. Everything's going to be going good. And I'll say this right now. If it is a healthy Josh Allen, then give me my Super Bowl champion of this season to be the Buffalo Bills will be your Super Bowl champions. I fully believe this can happen, and I think it's going to be a great year. But with that all being said, please don't take me as a full printed source. I know I said this will be 100% accurate. That's not true, obviously. I'm no professional, but I'd sure like to be. And with that being said, I'll see you for the divisional round of the playoffs next week. Outro, baby. Here we go.